Welcome to My Naturally Sweetened Life. Let's water bath can honey sweetened pineapple. The first thing we're going to do is cut up the pineapple. You cut the top off and then you're going to cut the bottom off. This gives you a stable working environment. And then we're going to slowly work our way around the pineapple, cutting off the outer skin. Try to take off the least amount of yellow flesh as you can. We will be working on a total of 5 pineapples, but I'm not going to make you watch me cut up 5 of them. Once you have the skin removed, you're going to work your way around the pineapple and remove any of the little brown indentations that are left behind, trying to take the least amount off and leave all the good flesh behind. Now it's time to remove the core of the pineapple. The core is located in the middle of the pineapple. You can see the white circle. We're just going to work our way around, cutting off big chunks of pineapple, exposing the core and getting rid of it because it's very tough and fibrous. Next, we're going to cut the pineapple into chunks. You can also do pineapple rings with a little gadget you can get, or you can also do smaller diced or even crushed pineapple. It's really up to you. But today, because my family uses chunks, that's what we're going to do. Okay, next step is to sanitize your jars. I just use hot soapy water for this step, and I also take the time to look over my jars, make sure there's no cracks and there's no chips out of the top of your jar where your lid will sit, because if it does, it will usually mess up your seal and you won't get a good seal. Fill up your canner halfway full with water and turn the heat on to medium-high. Make sure you have something in the bottom of your water bath canner so that your jars do not touch the bottom of your pan. I'm going to use this insert from my pressure canner. Now that our jars are clean, it's time to fill them with the pineapple chunks. Today I'm showing you the raw pack method. It just means that you're putting raw pieces of pineapple into the jars and not cooking them first. I just find that this method is the easiest. Now we're going to make our syrup. Instead of processed sugar, we're going to be using honey as the sweetener. We need 8 cups of water and 2 cups of honey for this simple syrup. Turn on the heat to medium-high, and we're going to heat our syrup until the honey is dissolved and it's hot. You don't necessarily have to bring it to a boil, but it needs to be hot. Now that the syrup is ready, we're going to ladle the syrup over the pineapple chunks up to a 1/2 inch headspace. After they're filled, we're going to debubble the jars. That just means that we're getting all the air pockets out of the jars so we will have a good seal. Because we're working with syrup, I want to wipe down the rims of my jars with a paper towel dipped in white vinegar. This way there's no debris or anything sticky that would hinder me from getting a proper seal. Alright, now it's time to put on the lids. I use Superb lids for all of my canning. They're made in Ohio, which means they're made in the USA, and they are very high quality and have a wonderful seal rate. After the lids, we will start putting on the rings. You want these to be finger tight. It just means that with one hand you will tighten the ring on. You don't want it too tight. Okay, it's time to put the jars in the water bath canner. You take the lid off and just insert your jars, and with each jar the water should come up higher and higher. I'm using my hand, but I did have to switch over to the jar lifters because the water is very hot. Here they are. I got 9 pints in my canner ready to be processed. We're going to place the lid on and we're going to wait for the water to come to a full boil. Once it does, you start the timer and process them for 15 minutes for pints, 20 minutes for quarts. Please be mindful at what altitude you live in because you may need to increase the processing time if you live at higher elevations. Place your jars on a towel-lined countertop and let them cool completely before going to the next step. Once they're cool, you take the rings off because the rings are no longer necessary. check for a good seal, and then you're going to wash the outside of your jars and the lids, making sure there's no debris or anything sticky on the outside of the jar. If you don't do this step, you could cause an environment that will grow mold. It won't hurt the inside of your jar, but it's just kind of gross. The last step is to dry off the outside of your jar and the lids and use a Sharpie to label all of your jars, telling yourself what year you made them in and what is the contents. If you would like the full printable recipe and instructions, come on over to mynaturallysweetenedlife.com. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.